Your business in the current form is a bunch of isolated islands. I mean, they can be productive, but they are isolated. And in the age of AI, where it's basically making the execution layer obsolete, your only leverage is data. But your data is currently scattered around. Each workflow that you do within your team, within your fulfillment, within your operations, sales, marketing, is running on a closed loop. You basically give data to a tool, it gives you an output, it gives you a result. That's it. Where is this context currently? It's scattered across different tools that you don't own, and the same is happening with AI models. If you use a web version of an AI, the entire context of your session, so forth, stays there. Nothing communicates. It's not shareable across your different types of departments and your employees. What you need is a harness layer. That is the missing piece of the puzzle. And in this video, I'm going to explain what is a harness, and I'm going to show you how it looks in real life. Here is the dashboard I created for this demo. Here I can see my current active agents. I can see the latest activity feed. I can go into a certain agent and see the hierarchy of it. I can see how it communicates with these different types of files. I can interact with each file. I can go there and see the latest runs. And if I want to activate a certain agent, I just press run. And here's how it would look like in real life. Once I press run, the agent shows me what it's doing, what tools it's using, what files it's reading. It shows me the reasoning. It goes through these files, and the final output I get. I use an DB, which is a database. And for this specific example, this is for my content, where I basically can drag and drop these drafts into approve or reject, and basically everything I do and the feedback I give, AI sees all of that, and it's getting recorded. Anyways, the workflow finished, and that's about it. The content is done for this specific example. And here lastly, I can see the knowledge base of my business, of the strategies, of ICP, of context across different types of domains, specific workspace context, and the exact files that has been edited before. Now, all of the backend you saw from that dashboard is basically a bunch of folders that live on my MacBook. This is a folder I can use and interact across different types of tools. I can open an Obsidian with it. As you can see here, this is the same folder. I can use something like an IDE for anti-gravity or VS Code. As you can see, these are the same folders. The thing is that this folder is living on my MacBook. It's local, it's easily accessible for me, and it always travels with me. It holds all of my context about my business, about the strategies, about the processes, SOPs, exact clients, and everything else. In terms of sessions I do, every session I talk with AI is recorded, distilled, and that is the context that's always updating on autopilot. Now, to explain the architecture, I'm not going to go very deep into it, as this is customized for me, and the core idea is that it's customized for you and your business and the vision and what you want to achieve. But the core idea is that for a harness to be successful and for AI to be always aligned with you and your intent, it has to be always aligned with the three realities. The intended reality, meaning where we are going, the current reality, which is what do we have to do in terms of going to that intended reality, and then the past reality, which is what has been done so far. If AI sees all these three realities at the same time and they are always in sync, it means that the output you will get from a certain AI model will be the most aligned output you can ever get. And this harness architecture ensures that the AI is always aligned and sees those three realities across any type of task, any type of prompt I give to him. To illustrate the process, I'm going to use the Content OS workspace that I just showed you in this dashboard. And let's go through the steps. Basically what it does, I pressed run, or I, for example, just type a prompt using my folder structure for example, let's create content. This process ensures that it sees all those realities before it even gives me a script. It understands, okay, what is the goal of this content that we are producing? What is the goal of the business? What has been done in terms of content? Did we film reels last week? How many reels we have to film this week? And so forth. All of this is being processed before it even gives me an output. Plus, I'm not stating that in my prompt. All I did was say, let's create content, or even better, I just pressed one button, which is run. And when I do that, it activates this architecture and it goes through these files and it gets aligned with itself before even creating that output. And now it understands all those realities, it gives me an output, and all of the learnings, the feedback I gave, the overall process gets documented in this state.md file. And if it's a repeated pattern, for example, it came across this state.md file 3 times, it will update my user.md file, which again is my profile of my preferences, what I like, what I prefer in terms of content. And then again, all of these realities are updated and always be in sync. Now, lastly, in terms of functionality, how does, for example, AI agent gets my access to Meta Developer API or Apify API or Notion API or any other API slash MCP server, or how does it understand what exactly to do, and so forth. For all of this, I'm using workspace as a concept. So what exactly is a workspace? For example, the same illustration I used before, Content OS. It's a bunch of markdown files, as you can see here, that communicate across the board. There's a file also like tools.md that has all of the credentials of certain tools that the agent will use throughout the Content OS. So I can connect an API that goes there and schedules posts. I can connect the Meta Developer API that derives the analytics back to me. I can connect it with this database I showed you to go there and post these posts there. All of that information, all of the steps, everything lives in a certain workspace, just like Content OS. And this dashboard is just a visual layer, a representation of those folders. I can interact with them through an IDE, like here. I can use Obsidian, use all those features, but this is just simpler. Now, if you want to see how this would look like for your business and your team, how exactly we could configure such a harness specifically for you, then book a call and let's talk.